Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Experience Kills. I am your host Ben. This is episode 25. That is 25. I'm going to say 25 weekly shows. We did take a sort of month off for Christmas, didn't we? Like December, January. But, you know, we planned that. So we've had 25 weekly planned shows, which is a huge milestone for the podcast. And with me, a major part in that, he's not missed a single show, have you? Rob is here today. He's Mr. Reliable.
I've been on every single one. I feel like a tired sofa. Part of the furniture and impossible to remove because it's too heavy.
I mean, before Cameron says it, is that like a casting couch? Do you feel like a casting couch, Rob?
That was not the direction I was going, no.
I just thought I'd get that in there before Cameron, who is also with us today, mentioned that.
What are you doing, co-host?
So, obviously we also have Cameron with us today as well, don't we? Hello. Cameron, how are you doing?
I said Cameron, I said he was here. I did say that.
Okay. I was tied up in the sofa.
You were enjoying the couch.
Analogy still.
Apologies for the interference there. I adjusted my microphone. I'm going to get a new mic stand. It's starting to because I have to move it for the recording things, and then occasionally it happened last week. It just goes like a huge like metallic twang where like where the springs and stuff adjusting and stuff like and just not happy anymore. I've had it for a long time. This arm, I think it's time for a new one. But it's like it just goes dong like that, and you're like everything's
not a healthy noise.
No, this is gonna fall down and hit me on the head or something, which is not
If it falls down and hits you on the head from where the microphone is there,
well, the whole arm goes like, the arm goes like way up here, so it's like so that could be bad.
Apologies to our podcast listeners there. That's really not very gesturing and pointing.
I'm waiting for the day the arm comes off and the microphone just hits you in the dick.
Yeah, it would plunge down like straight into my crotch.
It would be a different head it hits.
Yeah, well,
just
you'd
like,
know
mid podcast, talking away, tangent, obviously about cyberpunk, no doubt.
Not on the show notes today. No cyberpunk.
Twang the thump.
I'm sorry, Cam. I should have delayed some of the cyberpunk news from last week, but there isn't any on the podcast today, mate. I am sorry. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, he's leaving.
Is that what you mean? I'm going.
Storming out. It's in my contract. Cyberpunk news every week, and if there's not, I'm out. Yeah. Mad tangent at the start of the podcast there. I think this is going to talk a lot about where we're going to end up. We don't have a conventional topic as such, but as we're all familiar to a degree with Outriders, we're going to delve into that again for a second week. It is the hottest, newest, latest game and has been a real surprise. So after the news, that's what we'll do, and then we'll talk about Rob and Cam are going to have a real chat about some Borderlands DLC, which I'm kind of curious about as well because I don't quite understand what it is. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But we've got plenty of news to get through first of all. And I think, because I haven't watched Falcon Winter Soldier yet, I won't even ask his opinion.
Oh my god. I watched it last night.
Yikes.
Oh wow. Have you watched it as well, Cam?
Yeah.
That ending frame. Holy damn.
Alright, I'm going to watch it this weekend, I promise. But I haven't had a chance.
Good.
I haven't had a chance. I was too obsessed with Outriders last night. I could not stop playing Outriders, but we'll talk about that later.
It's almost an hour long, this episode. I think it's the longest yet, isn't it? And it touches a lot of different bases, a lot of very interesting story beats, and that end frame is something that's going to become iconic.
Ooh.
Definitely, yeah.
Ooh.
You're going to see that on a lot of thumbnails in the future, I think.
Yes. My suggestion is watch it today because you will see it on thumbnails.
I'll be spoiled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
No, good tip. Pro tip. All right. Yep. I'll check that out today. Definitely.
Pro gamer move.
Let's get into the news. We're going to start off with a little Sony block, and then we're going to kind of move towards a bit more of an Xboxy block of news at the end. So Sony. Well, do you guys? If I said to you David Jaffe, would you be like familiar with this person?
This guy made the Jaffe cake, isn't it?
He's the former God of War director, right?
I mean, you know that because you read the news story, Rob. But I mean, like, were you familiar?
You say read the show notes. I read the show notes. Honestly, when I don't read them, it's not good enough. When I do, you take the piss.
So he's very much a loudmouth bro dude developer of that ilk. So he's often quite outspoken and basically has got on a video podcast for VGC recently in the last week or so, and it's like people are like smashing down on Jim Ryan in charge of PlayStation, saying, look, what, you know, where's the counter to Game Pass? What are they doing? Like, let's get rid of him. He needs to go out. He's not doing his job. But it's Jaffe's responsive. Look, it's coming. Sony is gonna have. It's coming. The response to Game Pass is being worked on, so that they are going to have. You know, we didn't get any more details than that, obviously. But the question is with Jaffe, it's like, how reliable is this source? But I kind of wanted to ask you guys a bit of speculation here. What could Sony's counter be? What would you like it to be? And is it just going to be exactly the same? I don't think it can be. So I'm really curious. What would be an ideal Game Pass counter from Sony that you'd be like, yeah, I'm signing up for that as well, because that's badass. So what would get you excited?
The only thing it can be, surely, is just all the PS exclusives and all of the shared party high-power AAA games that everyone will want to play that just ends up on PlayStation and undercut the price by a couple of quid. That's how they're going to win. It's the only way they're going to win. And even then, I think the library is too big on Xbox's side.
Cam, what do you think, Cam?
It's difficult. I mean, I'm quite an avid user of like PlayStation Now, which is kind of the closest right now we have to like the Xbox like kind of library, you know, because it's got games from PS2, PS3 era that we can play and stream. Can't download them though, so if you've got a poor connection, you are a bit buggered. But how it's difficult to say, yeah, unless you're going to get, you know, these big name games available for everyone to start playing, like what Xbox has. What are you going to do? I mean, they already have what's it called, like PlayStation Essentials or something like that on like the store. So the big name games that have been really popular that they've reduced in price quite a bit. What else are they going to do? Yeah?
I know Richard was talking last week about, you know, obviously that's like, there's that 15, 20 games that when you bought a PS5 you get as well. And like, you know, so they're out there trying stuff, but I think I'm going to be controversial here, and it ties a little bit into what we talked about last week in relation to Game Pass. I think the best way to win is not to play. I think they partner with Xbox. And I think Xbox Game Pass, maybe they rebrand it in some way, and it's actually a multi-company offering. Because why be the latecomer, the Amazon Instant Video to Netflix? You know, you're never going to get the same market share. And you've also got to bear in mind that a lot of these third-party publishers have already got deals in place with Xbox, which are going to probably prohibit competitive deals. You know, prohibit them going onto similar services for their competition. So I think they don't try and fight. They win by not playing the game. Yeah,
they win by focusing on hardware and let Xbox focus on software.
Yeah, what's Microsoft good at? Infrastructure. Like that's what they do. They've always done it. Let them do it.
Well, you got a point when it comes to obviously like Xbox's recent purchase of like Bethesda and everything Bethesda. You know, I mean, if they don't kind of work together and they don't release it for PlayStation and it's an Xbox exclusive, the next Elder Scrolls game, I think a lot of fans, A, would be pissed off, but B, may try looking into Game Pass if they release it on Game Pass to play the new Elder Scrolls game.
And that's at the moment that's on Xbox or a PC, isn't it? So it's kind of like, mate, you know, you either way you're losing that consumer, aren't you? Because it's such a huge thing to a lot of people. And the rumor is potentially we might see Starfield as early as the end of this year or the start of next year. So I mean that's gonna dictate a lot of Christmas purchasing if that's the case. You know, if they don't come up with some kind of deal to get that onto a PlayStation, and I can only imagine the way of doing that is if they let them have Game Pass. I really at this point Microsoft are holding all the cards, aren't they? So we will see. I think it's exciting that there's talk, and there has been talk for a while that Sony has stuff in the works, but I feel like if they were going to just do a copy, like you mentioned, Cam, they've got Now, they've got Plus, they probably could have combined them in some way and come out with some sort of similar service, but they haven't, you know, and it's been a while. Game Pass has been around a while now. It's over a year. I think we're at about 2 years, 18 months, 2 years. I'm not sure exactly. I'd have to look it up when it launched, but
it's only improved, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it just goes from strength to strength. The games that are in it better every week, every month. You know, there's new cool stuff that you're not expecting, like Outriders, to show up in it, and there it is. You know, those deals are being aggressively made. The
annoying thing, well, I'm not going to say annoying thing, but the thing is that it works. You know, I'm an avid PlayStation and normally PC man as well. But I got the Game Pass Ultimate for PC back when lockdown first happened. I was working from home so I can have a little diddle on the computer for some extra games between customers. You know, and with the amount that's out there, you know, I've considered trying to get myself an Xbox on the side and just using my Game Pass on it. You know, I'll probably buy my main games that I want to actually buy on my PS4 or my PC like I normally would. But the entire library you've got on the Game Pass is huge, and I'm willing to get an Xbox for that.
Handily, they even made a product for that, the Xbox One S,
Series
which
S.
had One S.
Oh, okay.
Why
that one?
Because it didn't have a disc drive. It was designed to have games downloaded onto it.
Series S. 1S does have a disc drive. The 1S is the last generation. Series S is the new generation white box.
My mistake.
Yeah.
Either way,
you're not alone there, Rob. I knew what you were talking about, but I forgot which one was which as well.
I know because I'm the crazy motherfucker that has both the 1S and the 1X, and I've got the 1S is literally. I'm touching it right now. I'm stroking it with love.
I just find it hilarious that we host a gaming podcast and we don't even know what the bloody consoles are.
They have shit names.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's some of the worst marketing choices ever made with this naming conventions for this generation. Absolutely.
Give me back Project Scala and Project Natal. Give me that stuff. The keywords, the catchy, interesting stuff. Scorpio. Give me that shit. Don't give me 1X. What's next? The 1X STI? Or whatever it is. Like a fucking car. I don't know. Anyway,
I like
my
it.
little mini rant about that over.
You say that, but cars often have ridiculously stupid names.
So that bugs me as well. That's why I said, "What's next?" The stupid name.
Oh, I bring it. I mean, that's more memorable, isn't it, than this? So
no, it's more idiotic. But I think that's why Sony have to lean into their exclusives. This is all they've got over Xbox. That's the big lure away from Xbox is the Spider-Mans, the Miles Morales for some reason, the Last of Us is, all that sort of stuff. I think that's where they need to capitalise. So it's going to be interesting.
It just requires a lot of investment, time and money. So we'll have to see what they do. But they don't. You can't turn around on Last of Us Part 3. If they're ever going to do that, which I don't think they will, based on where it ends. I
don't even know.
But
they probably will because they like money.
Let's segue that then. Let's talk about Last of Us. Supposedly, the rumor is that Naughty Dog are working on a remake of the first Last of Us game, which came out on PS3, had a very nice remaster on PS4. So I'm guessing the use of the word remake is very intentional. So what they're going to do, a ground up remake with the Last of Us Part 2 engine improvements and tech, and it's a great game, but that remaster on PS4 is already flipping awesome. I really don't know what we need a remake on PS5 for other than more money.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You could just have The Last of Us release for the PS5, and people will still download it and play it. But it doesn't need a remaster unless it's going to be, like you said, a full ground up, proper graphically improved, gameplay improved. But how many times have we really played? Can someone, even if you enjoy The Last of Us, I love The Last of Us. It's wonderful, brilliant game. But how many times have we really played it through and through? And I felt the need, I need to play this on the next gen graphics. I've never had that with The Last of Us. So I have played it twice, okay, and I feel like that's enough.
So the first Last of Us I played and completed at the end of the PS3 generation. And then I immediately bought the remaster when it came out on PS4 and played the first level and the first two levels and went, oh yeah, that looks really nice. And that was it. It's a good game, and Last of Us Part 2 is a good game, but they're both so heavy going. It's not like this is fun moment to moment, having a good time gameplay. It's God, everything is so harrowing and serious and dour, and I'm much more likely to go back and replay the Uncharted games by Naughty Dog than I am the Last of Us games. It's just it's just so heavy.
This is why we're sounding so unenthusiastic, because it's a game that had a remaster for the PS4. It functioned, as far as I understand it, from discussions with you both, functioned absolutely perfectly. Why this needs to happen, it's just an exercise in lining their wallets. That's all this is. even if they make the engine changes, they could have chosen not to and invest the time into Last of Us 3 or Last of Us Tokyo Drift or whatever like alternate story they want to tell in that universe. You know, they could easily have gone in that direction, not just gone, we could just redo that because everyone liked that. It concerns me that we're heading into another remaster generation where everyone's going to go, well, yeah, let's just remaster our games and chuck them out for the next gen again.
I do have sympathy for people, the developers right now, though. The COVID, the whole situation with lockdown, it has affected development cycles so much that these studios are like, and publishers are like, well, how do we stay in business? A remaster is a really easy way of generating, or remake is a really easy way, comparatively, to generate new funds and to make some money to keep going. Right, so I feel like there is an economical drive here that does make a level of sense. But I do totally appreciate your perspective from a creative.
Just going to quickly counter the question: how many millions did Last of Us 2 make?
It did all right. I don't know. I don't know
exactly,
how many, but it did all right.
The thing is, it always irks me when people bring out remasters of only like the last generation ish. Especially when the last generation already had a really good graphical, setting. I mean, The Last of Us had great graphics for PS3 at that time, and then came out again on PS4 is amazing, and now 5, Last of Us 2, is gonna be great. Having Two Last to Us coming out, I tried to make another Fast and Furious joke there. I don't know if it landed or not, but okay.
It was good. Two Last to Us. That was great.
It just kind of irks me when you have like remasters of a very, very close generation come out on the current gen or the next gen sort of thing, when there's already like a plethora of amazing games that could be fully remastered and huge, and I mean huge, like profits to be made. I mean, when you've got games, off the top of my head, one of the best Star Wars RPGs, Knights of the Old Republic. You know?
Oh man, that could
you
be
could
a
have
remake.
that remade,
Coming though,
ground up. Story's incredible. Even people who have played that to death, like myself, with light side, dark side choices, whatever you want. I want that remade, and if I can get that remade,
it's happening.
you're damn right I'm going to put money into it.
Yeah, supposed to be happening. Yeah. Not by BioWare, but yeah, supposedly there's a third party studio, under EA that are producing that. Yeah, so
I don't even mind if they make like a third of the game and release it like they did with Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, that
they didn't.
Don't get me started on that. I have a whole little rant for that because that
I remember it
so much.
Same here. I was just like, where's my big fight with what's going on? So it kind of irks me as well.
Game, it's 3. Doesn't need it. I do agree with your original point. Having remasters of games that are like from the PS2 era, having older games turn around the classics and the big ones and the ones that did well from then or older, being remade for current gen and improved, and having that Final Fantasy VII remake kind of treatment. That
Bluepoint,
I'm on board for with remaster.
Bluepoint, for example, Bluepoint were doing great. They did the Crash, they did the Spyro games. You've got Crash Bandicoot in the remake, remaster, should I say, and then had enough resurgence to warrant a fourth official game coming out, sort of thing. Again, you've got other games on PS1. I mean, whether or not you enjoy the series or not, Metal Gear Solid, for example, the first game compared to the second game, there's a huge difference in like graphical quality. You could re-release MGS1 on one disc, probably half a disc, because it was like 4 discs on PlayStation 1, and people would lap that up.
It's interesting though. It's once you delve into this a bit deeper, there are reasons we don't get remakes and remasters for a lot of older games. Is because developers, studios, and publishers are notoriously bad at retaining source code. There is a lot of issues with if it has been kept, it's on outdated media. It could have actually degraded. A lot of the stuff it just isn't kept for posterity. Unlike say film, which is when it's printed to 35mm or whatever, that can be just stored if it's looked after well enough and last for hundreds of years. With video games and developers, they're often, even if it's on a hard drive, they're overwriting it. They're not keeping it. they're not looking after it, and therefore it makes it really difficult to do remake work if you don't have that source code.
Maybe that's something the developers need to address and resolve.
Yes, no, I think culturally
not only that,
I'd
say along the lines of like, if you've got games that are coming out right now which are ground up remakes, which and are true enough to the original game, I mean, take for example, which came out on the PlayStation Plus, the new Oddworld game, which annoyingly I don't have a PS5 because I can't wait to play it because those games are part of my childhood. But that's been a ground up remake with additional things added to it. I loved the Abe and everything like that. And that was a PS1 game.
Hold on. Soulstorm isn't a remake. It's a new game.
It's a bit of both. It's kind of a remake of Exodus and a new game. So it does follow on from like the first game.
That's it's a sequel though. It's not a remake. At no point have I read anything about it being a remake. It's a new game.
It's a bit of both. It's basically Exodus. Okay.
It's there's a difference between the difference between stealing a concept and actually, because it's a case of if you want to do a remake or a remaster, you're not being inspired by it. There's a difference here. It's direct like. The gameplay is meant to be the same. It's just like basically it looks modern, right? So, I mean, there is a difference. That's why what I've heard about Knights of the Republic is interesting, because this is almost like it's the setting, but they're going to be modernizing the gameplay in a way that it fundamentally changes it. Same thing with Final Fantasy VII. It's like, well, that is some drastically different game, isn't it, to what it was? So yeah, that's easier. You don't maybe need all that source code to pull that off, because you're basically recreating and making a whole new experience, which is why people laud that Final Fantasy remake as truly incredible, even if you don't like the original, because it plays so much better than a traditional turn-based JRPG. But no, I didn't know that they were kind of heavily being inspired by Exodus for Soulstorm. I didn't realize that. I'm not a big fan of Oddworld. I find it really fucking creepy.
Odd?
So
find it odd, yeah. Thanks, Rob.
No, I just never connected with it. I didn't grow up with it. I've played them. It's basically it must harken back to you. You like a bit of Lemmings, don't you? And it's basically a dark even more dark twisted Lemmings.
Dark Lemmings.
Yeah, darker Lemmings. Somehow.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got.
But it just seems like like Rob said, in this sort of era that we're currently living in right now, it seems easier, instead of coming out with fresh new ideas, look back and bring forward some of the classics. It'll be some easy money for them, but yeah, I think a lot of fans would appreciate it.
I think Rob's right though. We are going to see a lot more remakes and remasters for the next year, 18 months, because a lot to do with lockdown and COVID, because it's very hard as a developer, when you're not in a room together, to actually do the art and to come up with the ideas and to brainstorm new IP, because of the whole working from home situation. It makes that a lot more difficult for creatives to do that. And I totally appreciate that. And I mean, that is going to be, we're going to see ramifications of the global situation for years to come. And let's just hope the industry doesn't struggle too much from this, and we actually get some incredible indie stuff to keep things moving along. But yeah, big projects are going to be massively impacted. Massively.
My hope is that won't last too long, the remake and remaster trend, because we've had a generation of solid remakes and remasters consistently. We do not need another one.
It's just going to keep happening. It just makes it's financially much more viable.
I don't mind a few of the hits, like Last of Us, for example, going back to the story, is technically an older one. It is PS3 originally, so it could technically warrant it, fair enough. But if we're having a remake of Borderlands 3, for example, or a remaster of Borderlands 3 for the next gen, is that sort of thing
we
that
got
would
that
concern me?
We got Handsome Collection, didn't we? So we got 1 and 2 all redone.
Borderlands 3.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. They're still bringing DLC out for that. That's what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. But that was my point, Ben.
But what I'm saying is,
it would concern me if we were seeing that of newer games consistently in 4 years' time. For the next year or so, doesn't bother me. But it concerns me of where this could end up.
Yeah, I mean, having the PS4 God of War game remastered next year.
Yeah, that'd
be dumb. That'd be dumb.
Yeah. What's it bringing? I mean, what
exactly.
The problem is what you're getting here. I mean, what it's a problem with the way the generations are falling. Obviously, Xbox is doing a big push on enhancing the previous generation of games for the current platforms, right? Bringing out these X-enhanced patches. PlayStation are far less involved with that sort of pipeline, and they seem a lot happier just to say, yeah, remaster, re-release, charge them again. We don't seem to mind that so much, you know. And not just charge them, but charge 70 quid for them as well. And it's like, yeah, that it's just a different mindset, isn't it, at PlayStation about how they handle remasters and remakes. They do seem a lot more common on that platform, but I think you'll see it less on Xbox. But we will see. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, I mean, as we go into the rest of this year and next year, things are going to be different. They're going to be unpredictable. I think it's going to be really curious to see where the industry goes. But final bit of Sony news is that they have done an exclusive deal with Netflix in the US for first stream rights to Netflix on their films, and that's kind of forward thinking, I guess, but it is first stream. When I first glanced at this story, I thought maybe it would be like instead of putting him in cinemas and stuff, but no, this is just a home video deal. But we'll imagine we'll get something similar in the UK. But this speaks to me a bit about not so much game related, but it really fucks me off. It really fucks me off, guys. The different ways that the US, the UK, Europe, and other territories are treated when it comes to film and TV, you know, and stuff like that. And you know, we don't get it so much in games. There is some difference in games. For example, Australia will often get highly edited, or if they get the game at all, they might have to have it cut massively just to have it released. But there's not so much of it in games. And obviously we get mostly day-and-date releases now as well, though physical releases can sometimes be staggered a little bit depending on distribution availability in various territories. But yeah, in film and TV, you know, when we're talking about our Monster Hunter films and stuff, you know, available in the US, why can't we watch that legitimately in the UK? It's absolutely ridiculous, and it feels so old and like we're in 2021 now.
Needless.
Why are we got these different licensing deals for different territories? It just seems mad, doesn't it? But yeah, you'll be able to check out, what is it? We've got Uncharted, for example, that's coming out February 2022. At the moment, though, film release dates change every bloody week at the minute. But yeah.
Morbius as well, apparently.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
the Jared Leto makes me want to tear my eyes out whenever I see him in anything, so I probably won't be bothered to watch that one, but yeah.
Yeah, if it ties into that sort of universe, I'm still willing to give it a go.
Oh yeah, I've forgotten about Morbius.
So would Sony.
Say something about the film.
Did we make that movie? Yeah, we made that. Are you sure we made that?
We should probably make some money off it at some point.
We should release that. Have you thought about releasing that, mate? Oh, okay.
I'll tell you. I mean, the thing is, though, I know it's their Marvel characters. Obviously, it's still with Sony, which kind of. But the thing is, though, that could then tie into Venom. We've seen Adrian Toomes' actor, what's his name, Michael Keaton, appear in the trailer, who was straight out of Homecoming.
Yeah, it's all connected, which is this weird sort of somewhat unnecessary MCU sort of tie-in connected but not connected thing they're doing. It's odd to me that they're trying to do this. Do you know what I mean?
I like the idea that a lot of Sony Marvel characters are finally going to be able to possibly be incorporated into the MCU. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. You know,
yes.
Like Avengers film in 2026 when it comes out, sort of thing. You finally have like the X-Men standing next to whoever's the lineup in the Avengers film. Yeah, at that point. Yeah, Fantastic Four, for example. Yeah, as well. I can't wait for that.
But it's annoying because Sony are like preciously holding on to the Spider-Man stuff. Like they will not release Spider-Man, Venom, Morbius. They won't. They don't want to give it back to Disney. They know it's a cash cow. They know they can make money out of it. So whereas Marvel have got everything else back pretty much. All the Netflix ones, Fantastic Four. They bought Fox just to get everything back. You know, literally Disney acquired Fox just to do that.
This is where I wonder whether Disney will just try and buy Sony and say, okay, well, you won't sell your trademarks back. Can we just buy you?
Obviously, we got. I mean, it's not impossible, is it?
I'm imagining the Avengers lineup, and you've got Mickey Mouse standing next to Iron Man.
I mean, obviously, we got Spidey right in the MCU. No, so they've doing deals. The deals are being done, but it just seems weird that Sony are greedily holding on. That's why the PlayStation
it
version
doesn't
of Avengers
seem weird at all.
Well, it seems
They
weird
want
when
money, Ben.
yeah, but it seems weird when Disney approached them with a fat check and they said, "No, we're good." So we'll keep hold of that. Thank you very much. So it's like that. That's why, I mean, when Disney rolled up and we bought Fox, they have the money, they have that ability. So clearly Sony aren't interested in parting at the moment. But yeah, that's not exactly gaming, right? It is gaming. It's Spider-Man. Like I just said, in PlayStation version of Avengers is an exclusive character at some point, possibly 2022 at this point, which is insane how delayed that's become. But let's move on into something a bit more serious. Now, how aware are you guys of the history and the controversy around the game 6 Days in Fallujah? Do you remember this when this was kind of touted all those years ago, originally?
This is a video game based on the war in Iraq, isn't it?
Based specifically on a conflict in Fallujah in Iraq, a very sort of specific time of really bad tension, losses on all sides, a very, very horrible urban conflict, yes.
I think this is the sort of thing we should not be rushing to make games about right now.
Please elaborate.
It's too much of still a politically hot thing. The Middle East is still a political landmine when it comes to conflict and everything. I don't think we need video games wading into the let's turn it into arcadey fun time. It's not needed.
It's one of those. My question is like, what's the statute of limitations on those sort of scenarios? I mean, we have Vietnam War games nowadays, and obviously that is an extremely touchy subject, especially in America, at least anyway, where you still have Vietnam War veterans. I don't want to say abused, but obviously there was a lot of political tension for the Vietnam War in America at that time. I mean, nowadays you have like a World War II game come out, and everyone's all right, yeah, sure, let's go kill some Nazis, and you don't really
more
think
importantly,
about it
mate, there's been a whole bunch of games set around the first Iraq conflict. So Desert Storm, right? There's been loads. So that was the 90s, right? So there's been a whole bunch of games set in that conflict. I think it's difficult what Rob said. I can tell it's valid, but at the same time, media, entertainment, it's how we as a culture examine events, historical events, both recent and set long times in the past. There can't be a statute of limitations, and obviously there's been books and there's been films and there's been TV shows all set now and dealing with the ramifications of the more recent war in Iraq. Why shouldn't there be video games? Inherently, there's no reason that shouldn't be allowed as long as they deal with the subject matter in the correct way. Now, that's the problem. Yes. We've not played this game. We've not played it. We can't judge it unless it exists. And then we can condemn it or we can support it. But I think condemning something prior, condemning the concept, which is what we've got coming out of this story. So, the particular spokesperson for the CIR, which is the Council of American Islamic Relations, they've said, it's an Arab murder simulator. It's going to propagate Islamophobia, things like that. Valid. However, you've not played it. You're freaking out about the idea of it, as if video games aren't a valid form of media and
but expression. You're not going to have American troops shooting at English troops in that game. It's probably not going to be a thing. It's going to be us shooting against the local indigenous people.
Yeah, but it's still what happens.
The thing is, I think the major problem that we're having here is that it is a major indigenous people that you are combating against. Whereas if you raise the same argument sort of thing for like Call of Duty, for example, which, especially a lot of the modern ones, all take place in a Middle Eastern country, for example, or parts of Brazil, for example, where a lot of the black communities are getting shut down, or a lot of Middle Eastern people are getting shut down as well, but they kind of stick a label on it saying, oh yeah, they're terrorists, and everyone goes, oh yeah, it's fine. But obviously, this one is an invasion force against
who played
people.
Cameron, did you play the last story mode for the last Modern Warfare game? The one that's called Modern Warfare, right? I thought they did a remarkably balanced job of actually approaching the tensions and the fact that it's not just one group of people. That you have people in these nations that are obviously on both sides of the conflict. Or, to be honest, both sides, 3 different sides, 4 different sides, 10 different sides, right? It doesn't matter. And they actually did a really good job of approaching it and maturely saying, you know, it's not a case of every person from this part of the world is a bad guy. You know, what makes you think this isn't going to happen in this game? Right, so there was a lot of controversy around this game originally, and it got canned and shelved for the longest time, but they've come back to it. And I don't think in 2020, or when they started in development, we'll say 2020, they're not idiots. If they're really going to approach this game and be insensitive, they know they're going to all be in the shit and never work in the industry again. I mean, I think they must believe that they have a valid story to tell in a way that is going to be sensitive to the subject matter. So
I very much hope that is right and not the inverse of that.
Yeah, but you don't. People, I'm a big proponent here. Experience kills.
Scary balance here.
People experience kills. I would rather give people the benefit of the doubt here, right? And it's like, I don't want to condemn these guys, this developer. You know, but some people, Halo veterans and stuff, people that have really worked in the industry a long time, and say to them just that the concept that they're being very brave to tackle it, and you know, if it's bad, then let's call it what it is. If it is a horrible Islamophobic mess when it comes out, then we will fucking say that, and everybody will say that, right? So, but we can't condemn it before, you know, that. It's the freedom of expression. It's a freedom of expression. Video games, as much valid as a book is, or a film is, or a TV show is, it should be allowed to exist.
There's one thing that would fix it. Well, go a way to fix it. I'm not going to even begin to say that it would fix everything to do with this game. All the controversy surrounding it. Fictionalize a Middle Eastern country. It's set there. Blow by blow, the story is exactly the same.
I feel like
fictionalize the area.
I can't remember, Cameron. Is that what Call of Duty did, or did they go to a real place?
Because we all talk about, you know, fighting Russian villains in running PMCs in the States and all that. That I don't know how much that actually happens, but it's all of the Call of Duty storylines are fictional. All of the modern ones, obviously the ones based in World War II, the Cold War, that's different. But it's tweak it so it is the real form of events, the real tensions, the real sides, but change the names just enough so it's not you can walk down Fallujah and shoot people.
I inherently disagree.
The old was it like the label at the beginning of a film saying like events are real, but the names of the people and everything have been changed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. What's the point?
Where you're coming from,
I think it's so 11 years ago this got shelved because it kind of came out. It was going to be published by Konami, and there was loads of controversy. And that, if you think about 11 years ago, how much closer we were to the conflict at that point, right? So I can sort of see why it got put back then. But however, obviously, this game has percolated in the minds of its creators since then, and they've not been able to leave it. They've not been able to step away from it. I genuinely think there must be something there. And from the trailer I've seen, the kind of the earlier sort of teaser sort of trailer, they're interviewing the soldiers that were there. They're going to have like stuff to do with civilians that were there. You know, they're going to really try and do the truth of the situation, I hope, based on what we've seen. And if that's the case, it has to be Fallujah in Iraq. It can't be a fictional place. Otherwise, what's the point? It's just another Middle Eastern set shooter. If anything, that's more damaging to Islamophobia because it just, once again, just creates this sense that they're all the same and it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter if they're real or not. So I think this has to be real, but it has to be done right. The comments from the CIRN, or CAR, sorry, it's fair. You know, there are issues with how Muslims are portrayed within Western media because, you know, they were scapegoated and all, you know, put together for the longest time post 9/11 as this problem thing, this problem nation, and they were all considered just as bad as each other. And we've also got issues this week as well with around I didn't pick up the news story, but Asians being targeted in esports situations because of COVID and because of a lot of really strong anti-China rhetoric that's coming out at the moment from various places. So there are issues of racism and portrayal of various races within video games, but you're only going to get better if you let people try and improve that. If you always just say no to the existence of these products, we're never going to develop. We're never going to get better. We're never going to have these conversations. Yeah. Things will never move forwards. We'll always just be in this place of negativity. So I think this shows if it's done right, it shows them. I'm a big believer that gaming is a valid form of expression, of entertainment, just as valid as all the others, books and films and TV. Let the creators express these mature concepts in mature ways. The problem is obviously inherently here. What kind of game is this going to be? Is it if it is a gung ho shooter, breaching doors, and shooting people in crowded, in tight confined, rooms and stuff, or you guys play Spec Ops: The Line, for example. That game asks some crazy, deep questions about the nature of war, of who is right, who is wrong. And that was fictionalized. That wasn't a real place. Well, it was a real place, but it was a fictionalized situation. The whole thing about Dubai.
That's the sort of thing we need.
Storm. But I think it's a cop out at the same time, Rob. It's a cop out at the same time. I think doing something real is very brave and exciting, and I'm really curious to see.
Undoubtedly, it's brave and exciting, without a shadow of a doubt. But I think Spec Ops asked very valid questions. But I think Cam has a point he's been trying to say for about 5 minutes.
Go for it.
No, actually, I was going to say with Spec Ops. Damn, yeah, I'll take. That's the only game I'll probably take remastered. Actually, to tie back to the previous conversation.
Yeah, to be fair.
No, because that's a cracking game. Because that game was done, in a certain way. It is a bit gung ho, but the atrocities that happen in it are portrayed amazingly. Because you don't. It doesn't just happen, and your character just walks past, chuckling to himself, going, "Ha ha ha! I killed everyone." Well, maybe depending on the ending, but but it's done in a way that it's viewed in this war is hell kind of.
Well, it's Heart of Darkness, but done in a new setting. So it's genius. Now it's still one of the most nuanced shooters stories you'll ever see, and this was a 360 generation game, PS3 game. So it's still one of the best for that. And how it starts off, feels like a very conventional shooter, very obvious, very it's one of them, and then you start to slowly unravel, and it's like, oh shit, okay. Right,
it's one of my favourite shooters of all time.
It's incredible. It's a shame that was the end of that franchise, and pretty much the developer. It flopped like a whole mess. It didn't go down well.
It's also another one of my concerns that the audience is not going to be mature enough, or a large portion of the audience is not going to be mature enough to understand the messages that a mature story is trying to convey.
It's never going to get better though if you don't try. Is my argument.
That is a fair point.
It's a fair point. You can't always.
If you're worried about the audience not being mature enough, then maybe an 18 rating on the game should be given to 18-year-olds rather than shops letting kids get them because their mum said it's fine.
Let me just be clear. I don't think ratings of games have ever been more irrelevant than now. With digital distribution the way it is now, that with lockdown now, we must be at like 70% bought digitally. I think putting a rating on something makes the least amount of sense it ever has. You might as well pretend they don't exist. Might as
well. The amount of 12-year-olds you get playing Call of Duty, which is unless
the parent has set up like parental controls, on the console, they just buy what they want. Like, there's no restrictions. The fact that you're not getting that gatekeeper of the guy in the shop going, "Oh, have you got ID?" There's just none. It's like it might as well not exist now. It's like it might as well. Anyway, we digress. But
I worked for a popular video gaming high street store around the launch of GTA 5, and I watched a 12-year-old try and buy GTA 5.
Well,
my colleague laughed and said no.
I can guarantee you that 12-year-old has now played
Still
GTA 5.
Oh, 100%. Without a shadow of a doubt. He probably had it the next day. But anyway, that gatekeeper's important. But yeah.
That's another conversation for another day. But no, it's a really interesting conversation, the Fallujah stuff. I hope it comes out. Basically, this was a call from this group to Xbox, to PlayStation, and to Valve to not allow the game on their service to be distributed. So I personally hope that doesn't happen. I think we have to. If it's a shit show, we condemn it then. But I don't think we condemn the idea of it. That's my point on it, my stance on it. Yeah.
I just hope it is done right.
Me too.
If it's done right, then it could be really good and
make people think and make people analyze.
I really hope that if they do it, that's how it's been done. But my worry is that it's not, and it's just going to further a spiral.
I just don't think they'd have come back to it 11 years later if they didn't have nuance in mind.
Mm.
You know, I just can't see why a developer would come back to this if they just wanted to make another shooter. You know,
because it's a canned game that's done and then they could release.
No, it's not. It's not. No, 11 years. They started again. Like
okay.
Not 11 years later. I don't. No. But yeah. But okay, let's move on.
From a game we're not really looking forward to. I don't think. To a game we are really, really looking forward to. With BioWare offering a more of a detailed breakdown of their Mass Effect Legendary Edition and its extensive changes.
My word. Oh, wow. It just gets better every time they show stuff about this, doesn't it? I feel like when they first started talking about it in detail 2 or 3 months ago, they hadn't quite finished. But the sounds of things in interviews, they were still working on it, and I don't think they wanted to like shout about stuff that they hadn't confirmed was going to make it.
They didn't want to do a No Man's Sky.
And now, man, the work they've done on the first game is just. It's going to be transformative for that experience, isn't it? It's going to be absolutely... So they have worked on the inventory. We've now got that confirmed. The inventory is going to be easier to manage. They've obviously done a lot with how the game, plays, how the game is shooting, how the classes work, how the weapons restriction works. The Mako's got a huge amount of changes to the Mako. And yet it's still... I think...
It's going to make all the difference.
I've always loved that first game the most, right? Because it blew me away from a narrative perspective. And I love to, and you have to kind of give to the plaudits, right? Because it's the more rounded, across everything, perfect experience. But man, that story in that first game, those characters, that was so good. Now we're going to have the game to match that. This is going to make Mass Effect 1 even better, like retroactively. I cannot wait to play this next month.
So happy I can turn around and sit here and go, I told you so, Ben. Because
why?
Way back when... No, I'm so happy.
I did not think they'd make this many changes to the first game. No,
I was convinced it was going to be a substantial alteration, a substantial change. I'm so happy that's the case because it's going to make for a better game and better experience.
I really thought they were just going to make the thing look a bit nicer and stick it in a re-release. I think I might have been correct at the time saying that, and I think they've done more work since. Really, they were given more resources perhaps when the EA realized how much people wanted this and how the level that they wanted this to be done at. And I'm guessing here, but it feels like from the way the communications have come out that stuff has happened in the intervening time, and I think that's fucking incredible, and I just can't wait to play Mass Effect 1 again. I mean, I'm looking forward to 2 and 3, but I've played them a lot. Like, I played 2 to death. I've only played through 3 once, but so I'm looking forward to doing that again as well. But playing that whole trilogy, contiguous, none of the weird problems we had on the 360, back compat on Xbox One, we're trying to get the saves to move over, trying for it to remember everything. It was a real pain in the arse sometimes. I had always had problems with the server validation. Couldn't recognize if you had the DLC or not, or had it installed. It was a fucking nightmare getting that to work. So this is all going to now work I'm hoping, smooth and easy and just all the way through. And I can't wait.
I wonder if they'll give you the option that you can just proceed naturally from the end of 1 into 2. Or 2 into 3.
I wonder, will you get like a splash screen, or will it just come up like, continues in Mass Effect 2? Or like, will it like kick you, will you have a menu selection, or I don't know. I'd hope, but the sounds of things, man, they've done so much here that I feel like they want to make it feel contiguous. So can you imagine if it just now, like, the credits roll on 1 with, by the way, one of the best end credit songs of all time at the end of Mass Effect 1, absolutely amazing. M7 by Faust, and then it'll just go Mass Effect 2, and you'll just go into it and like, do you want to use your previous character? Of course you freaking do. Bam, there you go.
No, I am new.
And then, mate, and Cam, you're gonna get to do this for the first time, and I can't wait. I can't wait for our big podcast post.
Oh yes,
Mass Effect, Cam playing Mass Effect, and we're just gonna nerd out. We'll do a special or something, and we'll capture some footage and just the three of us talk about Mass Effect a bunch in May. It's going to be great.
I've booked the Friday it comes out off work, and I've booked the following Monday as well. I think you've booked more time, Ben, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I've got a few days around this release, and then my wife has a whole week because she is just the biggest. The biggest.
She's going to finish it before you will.
I might get her on this podcast as well. We'll see, because she is a massive. Like, there'll be no sleep in this house till 3 games are completed. I think
that's just because of the cats.
Oh, yeah, don't even. Just cannot wait. I cannot wait. I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped for this. So pumped. Right, that's it. Like, what else? Right, we're going to be coming back to that in a month's time, and if there's any more big stuff. But basically, there's a big blowout. Hit up the show notes if you want the details. There's videos like that were put out by them, and there's loads of information out there. Too much to go through. Like, too much. So many things.
Definitely go through the link on the show notes if you're interested.
In the inevitable segment that comes up pretty much every week now, the delay news. Delay news today is that Deathloop, which was meant to be it'd already been delayed into this summer, I believe, from like the launch window of consoles, has now been pushed back into September of 2021. And this is the new game by Arcane and Bethesda. Famously, it's going to come out on PlayStation 5 with an Xbox logo at the top of it, which is to do with this this weird kind of Deathloop concept, and it looks kind of like
Dishonored.
Yeah, the visuals, the style, the art style is very Dishonored, and then the powers are quite Dishonored inspired, but obviously the setting is sci-fi and sci-fi futuristic, but also with a bit of retro vibe to it. It looks. I've never felt mad excited about this, possibly because I'm not the biggest Dishonored fan, and I know some people absolutely love those games. Personally, I much preferred Prey, the remake they did for that. Really, really good sci-fi game. But yeah, Dishonored never like caught me that strongly. I've beaten them both, but like never loved it. I don't know. How do you go? Are you looking forward to playing Deathloop, guys, or not bother? I mean, obviously, I don't own a PS5, so I probably won't be playing. I could play on PC, I guess, but.
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed this Dishonored. I did enjoy for a while.
Hello.
Ignore that. Just at least it wasn't your microphone arm.
It's coming. Give it time. It's coming.
Give it time. Dishonored was fun. I enjoyed setting up a lot of good kills on Dishonored. You know, you can plan your route, and the amount of times I managed to kind of like throw a throwing knife in midair into someone else's face while jumping down and like stabbing someone, and then 180 throwing another knife at somebody, or pressing a button as another guard kind of goes, "What was that?" and then having the mine explode right next to him, sort of thing. You know, I enjoy kind of planning those little. It's assassination masturbation. That's what it is, you know. You do it, and you just go, "Oh, such a good kill, such a good kill."
That sounds like an anime.
Or like a really edgy punk band, like, "Hey everybody, we're assassination masturbation. Thank you very much. Good night."
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna write that band name down.
It's got a good bit of
like. Keep that one for me.
I like the sound. It rolls off the tongue nicely, doesn't it?
It kind of that's how it feels, you know, with like a Dishonored. If you get that good sequence going on, and you can watch people on like YouTube do the same thing, where like aims a crossbow bolt like directly up in the air, and as soon as he jumps out and stabs someone, the guy goes, "What was that?" and then suddenly straight down on the head. And it takes a while to get right, but when you get it, it's just the end of masturbation.
So the terminology for the name of this genre. I don't know if you're familiar with it, is the immersive sim, right? Which means a world of interconnected mechanics that work within an internal logic that you can manipulate, right? So the immersive sim. And this Deathloop feels very much like an immersive sim playground, doesn't it? The idea of replaying, it's almost run-based, I think. It's going to be like almost like a roguelike run-based experience, because you keep dying and keep doing things again and again, but then it layers on story and narrative around that to contextualize it as well.
Groundhog Day with Dishonored.
Yeah, Groundhog Day comes by Dishonored in a future setting, yeah. I don't know, I've just felt a bit cold by it. Like, Arcane are undoubtedly a very talented developer. So I think it's going to be good, and obviously they're just polishing. They're struggling with COVID, getting things finished off for the game, and any delays kind of suck. But a delay is better than Cyberpunk. So there you go.
So it's been pushed back to September 21
now. Yeah,
September. Shame.
Yeah, I mean that's another 6 months now, isn't it? I mean, it was looking at about we were about 3 months, and now we're at about 6 months. So unfortunate.
Tying back to our previous story about Mass Effect, I think on the weekend that it comes out, we're going to have to push our podcast probably a week to get all 3 of the games done.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, if it comes out on the Friday, I'm gonna just not do anything else. So I probably won't sleep. Like I should have the first game done by the time we record.
Yeah, Friday 7 p.m. Unfortunately, sorry.
I'm probably gonna go to bed like 9 o'clock on the Thursday night and wake up at like 4 in the morning.
Smart.
And then just
get all of them done before the cast.
Just have the Red Bulls ready, 6-10 of them on the ready to go. Yeah, order in the food and then you just don't have to stop. Yeah, it's the way to do it. Okay, so just move on a bit. I can't really segue this one, but some more news here. More Sony kind of weird news, Xbox news. We talked about it a lot last week on the podcast, which was MLB The Show 21 showing up on Game Pass. Now, there's been we won't go into this too much, but we'd speculate quite a lot about what the hell happened there. What was the deal? What was the conversation? How did that happen? Turns out the licensor, the Major League Baseball themselves, right? The guys that run Major League Baseball, they're the ones that approached Sony and said, we want this on Game Pass. So it was a case of Sony kind of having to do what the licensor dictated, within the agreement that they had, to get the game out in front of more people, I suspect. It just makes sense. They want to, I guess the weird thing with licensed games, it's not all about sales numbers, is it? It's about exposing people to that license so that maybe they'll watch more baseball, or maybe they'll, remember that they're big fans of, I'm trying to think, the New York Yankees. There you go. That's a baseball team, or the Boston Red Sox, and maybe they'll buy some more hats or a jersey.
I'll take your word for it, Ben.
I tell you what, though, baseball jerseys are very comfortable, Rob. They've got great circulation. They're like really baggy t-shirts, but they're very
just have baggy t-shirts.
I used to
like
have,
your t-shirt. I like that Pokemon Death Star crossover. Very good.
Birthday present.
Very cool. Very cool.
I prefer personally hockey jerseys. I used to have
hockey jerseys.
I used to have a Mighty Ducks hockey jersey when I was younger.
I am so jealous. I love the Mighty Ducks. Oh my god, the new TV show is incredible, and I might watch that before I watch Falcon Winter Soldier. Just FYI. That's how much I love the Mighty Ducks. I love them. I never had a jersey. Oh my god, I would have loved a Ducks. I might have to get myself a Mighty Ducks jersey.
Do you think they're ducking awesome?
Yeah.
Quack, quack, quack,
quack, quack, quack, quack, quack, quack, quack, quack, quack, quack, quack. Oh, I love it.
Hopefully the bill won't be too much.
Actually, hockey jerseys are inexpensive. Actually,
yeah, to be honest, a lot of sports merchandise is quite expensive. Our mutual friend Dave, Ben, he used to have a Miami Dolphins American football T-shirt.
Right.
Big baggy one.
Yeah.
But it needs to be a big baggy because he's a big guy.
Well,
but
beyond that, you're also meant to wear armor under him, so they have to be.
I swear to God, the only reason he had that though is because he's a fan of Ace Ventura, and that was the football team with Snowflake the Dolphin.
That
is
an incredible. I love that though. That is a great movie and a great reason to have that merchandise. That makes me very happy. That is very, very good.
You sneer, Rob. I'll come up.
I've not seen it.
He's not. He doesn't watch movies. Rob hasn't seen films.
Have you finished any of the films Ben's let you yet?
No, he hasn't. I can guarantee you.
Look what's over there, another news story.
We should go because we're still doing news and we're nearly an hour in anyway, so we should keep going. Quick one. As we expected. No, you did save yourself there. As we expected, E3 is now confirmed as an all-free digital event on June the 12th. For this year, there were rumors of something in person that they might try to do, a physical event, and it's just like, thankfully, Sense has taken over.
Not this year,
especially in America. Like we're in the UK, we're very fortunate. We have an aggressive vaccine program that's happening right now, best in the world, and it's kind of insane how many people have been vaccinated already. But obviously, a lot of other countries aren't as advanced in that process as we are. So I think even now with the vaccine, we've got our COVID restrictions being relaxed a little bit in the UK, literally started a couple of weeks ago, and then it's going to continue through the summer. However, you can't pretend this thing is gone. This is still a big thing. And having a huge event that's going to force people from all over the world potentially into a small confined space inside, no. Let's not do that. Open air sporting events, perhaps, but let's not do let's not do the convention centers, guys. Not this year. Let's just. I know it sucks. I know we all enjoy them. Your PAXs and your EGSs. We all miss them. We do, but it's not worth your life, and it's not worth the life of your loved ones. It's just not. It's just not.
I'm waiting for MCM and LFCC to start again, which are two Comic-Cons based in London. So that I will be attending them.
I think that sounds. I think when those come up, I'd like to have all four of us go over to.
That would be a laugh. I was just thinking that would be cool. That'd be a cool experience. Kills me up. We'll do a live podcast or something. That'd be a laugh, wouldn't it?
See if we can get some press passes.
I can always try. I can always try. I've done stuff like that in the past. Gamescom was the coolest thing I did in 2007. We're talking about Mass Effect. I sat down with the creators of Mass Effect in 2007 before the game came out and was told all about it and asked them questions. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever done as a games journalist. It was badass.
I'll tell you this. I'm not going to dress up as Isaac Clarke again from Dead Space. Okay, I can't do it this.
But that was going to be the condition of how it would happen. Come on, Cameron.
Letting the team down, brother. Letting the team down. But yeah, that's happening, and it's happening digitally. Good. Smart choice. Good choice. We also have rumours that we've got a What's Next for Gaming Xbox event coming up later in April. Or might actually be in May. I know it's happening supposedly soon. But we're getting into that time of year again, guys. It's the season of summer events, isn't it? It's that time where we start to get news and looking to the future of what's coming out in gaming time. But I'm really curious as to what that's going to be this year. Like we've already spoken about in this episode, what are we going to get? What can we get at this point? So we'll have to just see what's going to come up. But I think that's all I'm going to touch on for that one, because we don't have any more news about that yet. That's coming. We'll see what happens. Everybody else except me is muted their microphone, so I better not throw to anybody right now.
You can. I just sneezed.
Oh, okay. It was just a sneeze. Okay. And finally, only because this is the joke. This is the joke story.
Oh, there we go.
This is the joke story because it's a case of, can your computer run Crysis? Well, now we know the Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 can run Crysis really nicely.
But can they run it on Ultra?
They can run it on really nice settings. I actually saw a breakdown of what that all was, but basically, yeah. Do you want your ray tracing? Do you want your 60 frames? Then you're looking at your Series X, and then similar for your PS5. But even the Series S has got three options as well to run Crysis at pretty good settings as well. So yeah. You can
I have a friend of mine who's he loves the Crysis series, and he was saying the other week was like, I wish they could do like a VR Crysis. I was like, are you nuts? You'd throw up.
Yeah, you'd be puking.
But
down
it's just
yourself.
like, yeah, but you've got like your upgrade options and stuff, which are all done by like the fingers of like the glove sort of thing, and change it round, and you could just look at your wrist and kind of change it round. And I was like, yeah, but you take like 5 steps, jump somewhere, and fall on your face or throw up.
There are so many VR games that do have that sort of traversal. There are quite a few. It takes some getting used to, but it is doable. You just got to remember to run on the spot.
I just remember playing Wipeout. I just remember playing Wipeout in VR and turning off the like locked camera to ship perspective, and then going at 200 miles an hour on my rocket sled into a corner and just being like
I've had a few of those options.
Not doing that again. I did it for like half a lap and I was like, that's it, that's all I can do. Like
it helps with both of the games if you sit down.
I was but the lack of movement, physical sensation compared to the visuals, it was just like
I did the same. I was not as bad as you, but I got my partner Christina to do it, and she's afraid of heights, and she went off this huge jump, screamed, and just threw the headset off. And I was like, at one point, I was like laughing, but then suddenly turned to anger, and I was like, "That explains a bit of kit, you cat."
Goes across the room into the wall, crunch.
Yeah, she's just full on, just like, "I don't like it, don't like it, don't ever make me do that again." I was like, oh, shame.
Beat Saber. Beat Saber is the way forward, my friend.
Yeah, it's a good workout. It's a good game.
There's another version similar to Beat Saber, which you actually have guns. Have you seen that one?
Gun Saber? Good call.
But bit weird.
Beat gun.
It's another kind of Beat Saber-esque game, but you have like two guns and like your character's kind of like running forward, and there's enemies coming to shoot at you. So you got to like bang to the rhythm and shoot them as you go, and it's actually really crazy.
Name of Cameron's sex tape: Bang to the Rhythm.
Yeah, I think that's the quote of the show right there.
Bang to the rhythm. I like that. Barry White's
and its spiritual successor, Assassination Masturbation.
I'm debating putting them as the episode titles. Yeah, Assassination Masturbation, Bang to the Rhythm. Yeah, it does sound actually not band names, but they sound like album titles now from like the two releases.
Sex Pistols or something.
Yeah, Assassination Masturbation followed by Bang to the Rhythm. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. That's the end of the news. Well, we do have some more newsy kind of bits to throw into the topic here. Let's talk about Outriders some more, because it is the hottest thing. Yes. Me and Rob have been deep in it. Cameron doesn't have the full release, but did play a lot of the demo, so at least we'll understand some of the things we're going to talk about. But Rob, why don't you start us off, because I've done a lot of talking, and I'd like you to do some.
Well,
do I need a better reason? I don't think I do. So go for it.
Segues go, not your best.
No.
Basically, you talk.
Me tired, you speak.
It works. So we've had the first set of patch notes for a balance patch come through for the game. So obviously we've got the 4 classes: Tricksters, Technomancers, Pyromancers, and Devastators.
Devastator!
3 of the classes are getting nerfed.
Devastator.
Because Devastator is weak and does not need nerfing. If anything, it needs a buff.
They don't want to play with me, Rob. People don't want to play with me.
A lot of it is, but yeah, they don't. A lot of it is based around the ammo replacement skill that the Trickster, Technomancer, and Pyromancer all have access to. You replace your magazine with a power-infused round of bullets. So you end up doing stupid levels of damage, but you can get a perk which refills your magazine if you get a kill with 30%, less than 30% of your mag. So you just constantly have it. It's absolutely nuts. So they're trying to address it with longer cooldowns. They're trying to do a couple of other nerfs as well. But poor Devastators they're not getting any nerfs.
There's no love, man. There's no love in the end game. I haven't quite got to end game yet, but I'm at level 30. But yeah, people are kicking out Devastators out of the Expeditions mode in co-op. Yeah. If they get a Devastator with them, they're kicking them out of the game, man. That's just brutal. Don't do that. Come on, man. Share the love. Don't do that.
They are doing a pass which is meant to fix a large portion of the crashes and the bugs that are going on as well, which is only good news because the game is still not the most reliable in the world. Sometimes it is quite difficult to set up and join a game and get that going because the servers are a little bit unreliable. But I think that's more of a Squeenix thing rather than people can fly thing. Because I think they've been quite annoyed.
They actually posted a rather extensive teardown of more than I've seen from pretty much anybody that's had these issues as a developer. They really explained why they were having these issues in technical terms, which might not actually be easy to understand for many people. They really did it. And I really respect that. I'm not going to go into all of it, but basically it sounds like the way they set up their servers, they were expecting RAM to take the load, and actually for some reason the servers didn't use it, and they've been trying to reallocate. But the big other issue was the default matchmaking option of on meant that it was like querying the servers immediately and causing a huge amount of load for every client every time the game was loaded on any service. It was just basically throwing these requests at the servers, which was just clogging them up, to try and use basic terminology. And yeah, I can totally see why that would be an issue. So they're going to patch that out, so it's not going to default to on anymore. But already we're getting balance issues. We're getting patches that are landing this weekend that I think have already applied for me and you. It's starting to roll out for everyone. And they're disabling some of our favourite farms, Rob. Some of our favourite farms are going away.
The farms were ridiculously overpowered. Neither of us have actually finished the campaign yet. You're already max level. I'm 28. Not even finished the story mode.
Do you know what? This is Loot Cave. This is Destiny Loot Cave.
Exactly.
I love me a Loot Cave.
That's what the end game is meant to be. So they're preserving the experience, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, but they've said they're not punishing people. It's like, hey, look, we did it this way. This is on us.
Best thing that's happening is a compensation package.
Yeah, Yes.
Which I definitely want to be 30 for this, because they're giving you a level-appropriate legendary weapon that will be random from the pool, a level-appropriate amount of titanium, which is the resource you use to level up guns.
I'm alright for titanium at the minute, Rob.
And ironically, you've got 1,500 of the fucking stuff.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's ridiculous. He spent, I think it was yesterday evening doing a stupidly good farm.
So I didn't see if there was a video. I didn't see a video for this. I just worked it out. So my shitty Devastator has this. You jump. You play Devastator, Cam, don't you? So you know. So you jump up in the air, don't you? And you like zoom across at an enemy. So there's this monster spawns, right? This boss monster. Part of the monster hunt farm technique. You kill the monster, you leave the ads alive, they kill you, you restart and do it. However, I was able to attack this particular monster in this particular monster hunt as soon as he spawned on the top of this cliff. And then when I attack him with the jump attack, I'm outside of the geometry, so my character then floats up over this boss monster, can't be attacked by the monster. I can, however, do damage on him, and then kill him, get all the purples. There's always a guaranteed, there was a guaranteed 2 purple drop, and then just fall down. So I move, walk a bit, fall down, let the ads kill me, reset and repeat. The loop took about 30 to 40 seconds. So I was doing this on World Tier 9, farming all the legendaries. In about 90 minutes, I'd filled up all my loot and my stash twice with purples, which I was then just sharding for titanium and for the mods. And also that gives you XP for each time you do this as well. So I was
so jealous.
So I was just able to completely cheese this, break the game. But this is one of the weird things I've always admitted. I love breaking games like this. If there's an exploit or a glitch or a silly thing, especially when it's not affecting you anyway. It's not a competitive game, right? So I don't feel bad. I'm not like hurting anyone else's experience. Yeah. So it's a co-op game at the most, multiplayer. So it's just like, well, look, if they've both made the game like this with issues, and it be an open world game or a game as a server game, there are always things like this when the game first comes out. Always that the developer doesn't expect. So there's always things you can exploit as a player, and I love breaking it. And there's no more fun to me than breaking games. I absolutely adore doing it.
I do love a good sequence break in some games as well. I haven't finished it yet because I'm too underleveled, but I've essentially. Do you remember Borderlands? Not Borderlands. Bloodborne.
Yeah.
There's a sequence very early in the game. As soon as you leave the clinic for the first time, you can get attacked by a wolf, and you can use its grab attack to push you through a gate, which shouldn't be accessed until about a third, maybe halfway through the actual game, which is hilarious because then you skip one time skip period, and you can pick up a load of higher level loot and stuff to upgrade your stuff so you are higher powered low level. And then if you did stuff like PvP, for example, you tie up with people who are level 15, level 20, and you've got level 40 gear, essentially, and just wipe the floor of anyone PvP. I don't do that much, but I just did it to test it, but now I can't progress because I'm not powerful enough in the story.
Oops.
Yeah, there's an oopsie moment.
One more item in the compensation package, which is the aptly named emote Frustration.
Yeah, so frustration comes from the fact that
way of deling with this. I think that's quite nice.
We've had even this week we were trying to play together and had issues, didn't we? Where we got getting dashboarded if you're trying to do anything, with a vendor, and then also just getting into the game, just being able to party up. I think it speaks to the fact that this isn't a AAA release. People Can Fly aren't exactly the biggest developer in the world, but there's obviously been a lot of interest in this game. It's fallen at the right time for a lot of people. It's obviously on Game Pass, so I think the numbers they've seen have been massive compared to what they were expecting, and that's great. That's a success for them, but they weren't
quite surprised, weren't we? It wasn't exactly the most hotly anticipated game or anything of 2021, was it? It kind of flew under the radar a bit, but with its release, it's had quite an impressive surge of players.
I think the demo helped a lot. Demo came out, progress carries over, so shit. That's where everything just went.
I didn't play the demo, but yeah.
On a side note, compensation package, is that Rob's sex tape? Or
no.
No, that's out of court settlement. just to be clear. I'm sorry.
Dick. But it's safe to say though, that you guys are enjoying Outriders still. So
yes, I have the option of staying in endgame lobbies, unlike Ben, who has to play alone.
So it sounds like my first, have a go at the demo was worth it then, because you guys can get into it as well.
So good.
It's great when they sort out crossplay. And if you do get the game, we'll be happy to party up with you. Yeah, it's the fact that it's game. That's the thing, right? It's another reason I'm not bothered about breaking it and stuff. I didn't pay for this game, really. This is Game Pass, and it's just like, what the hell? Then I'm just gonna do whatever. It's interesting. It's like it gives you a level of freedom. It's like I'm not worried about getting in trouble. It's just like I'm just having a laugh with it, and I put in a lot of time. I was looking at my stats. I'm approaching 2 days of gameplay already. I'm amazed that I've put that amount of time already into this, and I've got like the second highest kills of all the people on my friends list and all of that and stuff. And it's just like, man, I'm just doing this. I'm enjoying this. This is a great chill out game. It doesn't require a huge amount of thought. You understand, but when you want to, there's all the build options and the different loadouts you can go through, and all the mod options you have. And there is really, at the moment, my Devastator is running bleed and flames or fire attacks and stuff like that, but mostly bleed I've built around, which I just destroy. I just destroy everything with this. Currently. So I'm surprised to hear Devastator is so ineffective. I have the roll thing where I can roll and recoup ammo, but I just don't have that elemental ammo buff thing by the sounds of it, and that seems to be the huge thing that's important in the expeditions. But it sounds to me like these again, people can fly. I'm curious. It's a Square Enix product in the same way Marvel's Avengers is, but it's the exact opposite expectation, right? Everybody expected Marvel's Avengers to be this huge success that was going to have a big player base, and everybody was going to be wanting to continue with. But really, it seems like Outriders has done that for them instead, and they weren't ready. And to the point where they don't have a huge roadmap of updates and DLC and support for the game in place. But I have to wonder that, with the success of this, the runaway success that it's showing at the moment, if they can retain that player base, even with the technical problems, maybe what we'll get is this reactive roadmap. They're actually going to do stuff because it's been so successful, rather than planning for their inevitable success. The hubris of that, which is what we saw from Crystal Dynamics and Marvel's Avengers. So I'm curious. What does the future hold for Outriders? I hope cool stuff. I really do.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping we get some more to it. Talking of more to games, because I'm going to segue this.
Go on.
Cam, you've been playing Borderlands 3, the director's cut. Tell me all about it, because I don't even know what the hell the director's cut is.
What does that mean?
What does it mean? Tell us.
So, the director's cut is the hottest, newest, fantasticest, tiny teenerest.
Oh.
No, I'm just saying that to annoy Ben now.
Oh, okay. It's not actually.
It's got nothing to do with it.
Good. Christ for that.
It came out, I think it came out yesterday, and I've been playing quite a bit of it. But it's got the new DLC attached to it, which is all evolving Ava, who was the newest kind of Vault Hunter added on with Amara and... Oh, sorry, not Amara. Ugh, said it all wrong. She was added in Athena's land. She's going to be the next Siren, essentially, after Lilith and everything happened at the end of the story. And she's started a podcast. And it's supposed to be investigating mysteries around the whole kind of universe of the Borderlands. And you basically go out and become an investigative journalist for it. I've gotten a little way into it, and it is kind of interesting. However, it's just I'm not 100% invested in it just yet, because I always thought Ava was quite a weak character. She was newly introduced, but not exactly...
Help me out.
Amazing.
Help me out. Okay. Is Ava... I've played like a third, 2/3 of the story. Ava's that kind of kid... That kid character who's kind of...
Kids with the siren from Borderlands 2,
and kind of annoying and not
the incredibly annoying kid who we all want to kill.
Because I thought I was playing the Siren class. I thought I was playing as the Siren. I was a Siren. I'm sure I was a Siren. Is there not a Siren class in Borderlands 3? I thought the one with the fists. I thought that's what I had.
There are 6 Sirens in the universe at any one time. So there are different. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So Maya, she was the one in Borderlands 2. You were playing as Amara in Borderlands 3.
Right.
And of course you had Lilith.
Calypso twins?
The Calypso twins, yes.
The bad guys. They're the bad guys, aren't they? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, they are, yeah. I'm not going to reveal who other Sirens are in case anyone else wants to play.
Right.
Just in case.
Don't want to spoil the story for Borderlands, no.
Hey, it's good story.
There's no story there, Ben. You'd know if you played it.
There was story and tales from the Borderlands, but that's the only one with story. But anyway.
How dare you? But so she's got this little podcast, and that's the whole side story here. But the whole director's cut, that is going to be involving a lot of the stuff that happened like behind the scenes. You have like a new behind the scenes option where you can see kind of bits of how like the game was created. You know, weird little bugs that the creators have come across. Some cut content. I don't know if you guys saw any of the news at all. Because I watched it yesterday, and it's about like a 6-7 minute video where they actually had a funeral for Amara. I can understand why they didn't put it in. Because
Amara? I think you mean a different character.
Sorry. Yes, a different character. I forgot which one it is off the top of my head, but there's a funeral scene, but it changes the pace.
Okay.
Of the game, so I can understand why they didn't put it in.
So hold on, the like deleted scene.
Yeah, it was like storyboarded and it was voice acted and everything that they put into it, so you can see it. But it was just such a different change of pace from like.
You get that from get that through like the menu or something? Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And along with that is the first new raid boss as well that's ever been in Borderlands 3. There hasn't been any raid bosses before. My God, I hate it. Me and a friend, we tackled it last night, Mayhem level 10, and my God, that was...
Yeah, you're doing it on Mayhem 10, you absolute crazy bastards!
Yeah! How are you going to play the game now? You can't just change it to having no Mayhem and then use your Mayhem 10 weaponry to kill it. That's cheating! That's bad parenting, mama!
Okay. You do raise a fair point. Mayhem 10 weaponry on Mayhem 0 would be ridiculously overpowered. But still, trying a raid boss on Mayhem 10 first, that's ballsy. I like it.
Yeah, that's how we roll, baby. But yeah, it was nuts.
Did you win?
I don't know.
Did you succeed?
Yeah.
Good drops.
We had a few legendaries drop out of the new stuff that's been put in there. It's kind of I don't know if you fought the raid boss in Borderlands 2.
Vermivorous?
Yes.
Yeah.
Vermivorous, yeah. Here's a Varkid that slowly turns into Vermivorous, basically. He was a bastard. And basically that's what this raid boss is. So you start off like killing it, and he gets turns into an adult, and he turns into a badass, and a super badass. And then it gets worse and worse and worse from there, basically.
Yes. Rats.
And it was brilliant. I loved it. And we had a laugh playing that and just slaughtering it. It took a while, and we were both, edge of our seats at times. But that's how you're supposed to take down a raid boss. I kind of hope they bring out some more in the future. Maybe one on every planet. That'd be really cool. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the kind of director's cut stuff is like more behind the scenes stuff that's been incorporated.
Okay.
For your personal enjoyment, basically.
I do have another question, because I can see on your list of games that we've been playing, you've been playing the Repentance DLC for Binding of Isaac.
That one just hurts.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, because I've been playing it quite a bit between customers and working and stuff like that. So I've got a lot of the endings of the Binding of Isaac already. Except there's now like 3 additional endings, as well as like I don't want to say 4 new floors because like there are additional floors, like alternative floors.
Yeah.
But there's new items. There's like new bosses in there as well, and I was doing fine before, I guess, and then like the game got a lot harder with the new equipment and stuff. So now I'm just in a constant state of agony, basically.
Sounds like
everything just hurts, you know. It's just that's all it is. It's just pain. That's my life now. My life is pain. But I love it. I love it because you can still find some good like new items to come across, and some of them synergize quite well with things you've already picked up before, as well as some of the new characters and different ways you can end the game. Without spoiling anything, I don't want to say anything that's too crazy, but there's different ways you can end the game now, with a now true ending, like the official proper ending of the game, which is supposed to be the way it's supposed to end now. Because obviously, different endings, kind of ambiguous endings, you know, for Isaac. But now this is supposed to be it. That's it there.
Okay.
Again though, it's one of those games where it's just pure fun, even though its existence is pain.
I was talking to Rob about this earlier. I was a huge Super Meat Boy guy, but I never got into Isaac. I never got into it. I guess now, I mean, it was one of the first, wasn't it? Kind of roguelite dungeon crawlers. And now we've got so many that are so damn good. Like, you know, Hades is just the pinnacle of the genre. I've never felt the need to go back to Isaac, but maybe I should. Maybe I should try and give it another go, but I don't know.
For me, Isaac is not far behind Hades.
Okay.
It's just one of those games where you're just like, I'll do another one. I've got 20 minutes. I'll do another one. Oh god, it's been 2 hours.
And finally, as Cameron's played some games, whereas me and Rob have just played Outriders, you've got Avengers on here. So I'm curious, like, what have you been doing with Avengers?
Genuinely, I haven't played enough to really fully comment on the game yet. It came out on the PlayStation Now service, so I downloaded it because it's Avengers, and I haven't given it a go yet. I've heard some things, but I don't listen to a lot. I don't listen to a lot of reviews of people that are like canning certain things. I don't always listen to them, but I just wanted to give it a go because I like the Avengers and I like a good story. It's interesting, and I got to have a go finally. And you know what? It's one of those games that feels like you started off being all powerful, you know, because you got to play as all the Avengers, and now you just had like everything just ripped away from you as this one new character to start with. And it kind of annoys me in games like that. They did that, I think it is in the Red Faction Guerrilla, I think it might have been, where you are just this tank destroying buildings at like the beginning, and then a lot of your power just kind of got yeeted away from you.
For story reasons.
For story reasons, yeah. And it sort of just goes, oh, that's annoying. It sucks.
Yeah, it's an old game design trope, isn't it? And it's not the best. It has to be handled very well for it to actually be pulled off and not be really, really irritating. But it's not that bad in Avengers. I found that in the story, you quite quickly get other people join, and it works quite well. The story isn't super long, but it's well done. It's well done. I certainly cared about Ms. Marvel more than I ever had prior, like ever. So I think they handle, and then the fact that it's told from like a lot of it's told from her perspective of these icons of hers that when never meet your heroes, literally never meet your heroes, and I think they do it remarkably well, and I think you should stick with it and see, because you do love your Marvel stuff. Talking about heroes, to digress a little bit, I'm desperately thinking of a video game connection, but I can't. But for the love of God, people, check out Robert Kirkman's Invincible on Amazon. It's genuinely the best superhero thing you're gonna see. Like, it's so good. Are you up to date, Cam?
I think I might be. I might be one episode.
Yeah, there's one. There was this week's. It's Friday, isn't it, as well? Yeah. If you haven't seen this week's, but it's just excellent, isn't it?
Honestly, did not see the whole thing going the way that they do it.
Oh, you wait. Oh yeah.
I can't wait. But it's like, you know, I've watched my fair share of like animated superhero shows. Well, let's just say the older one because they were better. You know, Batman animated series, Justice League. More up to date, I've watched a lot of the Young Justice, which is kind of like, I guess, cartoon Titans.
Love it.
Yeah, you like that, do you? Good.
I love Young Justice. Seasons 1 and 2. 3 is awful.
Yes, thank you. I was about to say 3, but yeah. So but it's a very adult show.
Yeah, it's not for kids.
What it used to be.
It's not for kids.
Yeah, Invincible was like, you know, I thought it started off as like, oh, it's a superhero show. Everyone's kind of cool. That's nice, pretty cool.
I kept saying, do you remember what I said to you before you saw it? I was like, get to the end of the episode, and then then you'll know.
But you can see where. Yeah, no spoilers, but like the analogy you can see like between like characters, like there is like a Batman-esque.
Oh yeah, it's Justice League straight up. Yeah, Justice League.
Yeah. And you know, I like it when shows are kind of like turned on its head and completely unexpected. You know, when people do the superhero films, different. You know, it's always warranted a view because you know you can again fall into a trope of going, he's super, he's learning his powers, and everyone goes, oh. Relatively generic. Okay, fair enough. There was a film that came out a couple of years ago called Brightburn. Do you guys see that one?
Yep, I've seen it.
Yeah, that changed the superhero genre on its head.
Don't ask Rob. He hasn't seen it, but I've seen it.
Of course not. It's like Brightburn essentially was like a kid Superman who, let's just say, he got bullied too much and basically didn't have Ma and Pa Kent as his moral compass, and he just flips out and just like.
Yeah, it's like almost like an indie movie, isn't it? It's really small. I think James Gunn was involved producing it and stuff, but it's a very But this is a lot better than that. I think.
Oh yeah.
The fact is, you've got long form storytelling here as well, and all I can tell you is this first season is looking like it's only the first 6 issues of the comic, literally the first graphic novel or trade paperback, and it's like there are like 150 issues of Invincible, and it's one of the best. It is literally the best superhero comic I've ever read, and I've read the whole thing through more than once. And it is just incredible. It is genuinely incredible, and I really hope they can stick with it because they are doing a very faithful adaptation of it here. They've made some modernization and changes to some characters, but it's minimal, and like they've maybe sidelined his best friend character a little bit. They've changed up his first love interest. And stuff like that, just to make him a bit more modern. But it's the stuff that's coming, Cam. I won't spoil it. It's genuinely incredible, and you will be utterly blown away at how it's handled. And it's so much better the comic than The Walking Dead. Like it is so much better than The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead is obvious. Like for the most part, you know. We are the Walking Dead. Humans are worse than the zombies. Yes, we get it, right? And that's what it is for 150 issues. But Invincible always surprises you. And it's just brilliant. And it just follows Mark through his entire life as this character. And what the stuff he goes through is just... Yeah, I can't wait. Sorry, I know I've digressed. It's not really a video game related. But yeah, if you're into the stuff, you know... Yeah, I'm sure you'd be into this stuff, our audience as well. And it's just... insanely good. I hope they stick with it for a long time. I hope it keeps getting made because
it's on my list of things to watch. At least try the first episode because I've not seen any of it yet.
Just get to the end of that episode and you'll know. You're either going to be into it or not at that point. Like, because man, oh man, it's so cool. But yeah, that's the end of the podcast. I think, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've covered all the major beats, yeah?
End of episode 25 of Experience Kills. Here's to another 25. Absolutely. Let's get to that big 5-0. You'll be here before you know it, like, honestly. So, yeah, 25 episodes. Thank you very much for joining me today, Rob and Cam. You can find us on Twitter. You can find me at DIYE, Rob at Homeless Mr. Gibbs, and Cameron at Camelot. I'm not actually sure if his account is even still live. I tried to look at it earlier, and it was like, error. I think it might be disabled. Have you been naughty again?
I'm always naughty.
Fair enough. And you can find us collectively at Experience Kills. Please give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. It does really help get the word out. We don't charge or monetize in any way. No Patreons, anything like that. We just do this for fun. So it really helps. Like and subscribe and turn those notifications on as well. But we're also available in audio form. Are you right? Are you right there, Rob?
And follow us on Twitch.
And follow us on Twitch. Yeah, do that too now. Absolutely, follow us on Twitch.
Exactly.
That'll help.
Streaming some games over there as well.
There are streams. There will be more. That is my plan going forwards. And Cam, you can get in on that. Let me know if you want to co-stream and do all that. We used to do that. I know you did a few things in the past. And Rob, same to you. You've got the power to do this, so we can do all kinds of streaming and let's do this. Let's get it out there. But yeah, that's all good. And then also, yeah, there's an audio version of these available from anywhere a good podcast can be found. And if you do find somewhere that we're not available on, let me know and I will make that happen. That is my guarantee to you. But there'll be more coming from us. So you're probably more Outriders next week, I suspect. We'll talk to Richard about it as well because he's been playing. But lots more news, lots more games, always stuff. It's a bit quiet for games right now, so I think we're doing mostly new stuff. And maybe if you've got any topics, we haven't decided on a Game Pass game for a week from now, so I don't.
thought we were playing more Spirit.
That was it. We were going to do more Spiritfarer, weren't we? Yeah. So we'll do that episode.
You did more Outriders.
But yeah, just more Outriders. Outriders Part 2, perhaps as well. Part 3 at that point, really, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, we'll speak to you all soon. Have a lovely week, and thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.